Okay, so that was all about the October Revolution. Now, what changed after October? Like, what were the changes made after the October Revolution by the Bolsheviks? So, first of all, you should know that the Bolsheviks, which was led by, that party was led by Lenin, so that was totally opposed to private property. So, they made sure that most of the property, most of the industries and banks were nationalized in November 1917. So, that was the first change they made. Second of all, the land was declared a social property, and most of the peasants, they were allowed to seize the land of the nobility. Then in cities, the Bolsheviks, they enforced the partition of large houses according to the family requirements. And after that, like apart from that, they banned the use of the old titles of aristocracy. And then there were new uniforms which were designed for the army officials in 1918. So a very famous, like there's a Soviet hat which is called the Budyonovka. So that was chosen. And apart from that, this we have already studied that the Bolshevik party was renamed as the Russian Communist Party. So that was the Communist Party of Russia. Okay. Next up, we have that Russia becomes a one part state, one party state. Sorry. So, in November 1917, the Bolsheviks, they like, how did it become a one party state? Like right now, China is like that, right? So, in November 1917, the Bolsheviks, they conducted the elections to the Constant Assembly, which was the Duma, but they actually failed to gain majority support. So then in January again in 1918, Lenin dismissed the assembly, and he thought that the all Russian Congress of Soviets was more democratic than an assembly elected in uncertain conditions. So in the years that followed, the Bolsheviks, they became the only party to participate in the elections, and thus Russia became a one party state, just like China presently. Apart from that, the trade unions, they were controlled and censorship was enforced. So that was all under party control. Then there was a secret police, which was called the Cheka initially, but after that it was renamed as OGPU and NKVD, who used to punish those who criticized the Bolshevik party. Apart from that, many young writers and artists, they rallied down to the party because it stood for socialism and for the optimistic change which they thought it was showing. Then, after October 1917, this led to the experiments in the arts and architecture. But many became disillusioned because of the censorship which was put, and that the party actually discouraged. All right. So next up, we have the Civil War, which is like really important. The Civil War actually, broke out in Russia in late 1917. So actually, the Civil War was between 1918 to 1923. Just do remember this. I'll write it down. It was from, yeah. So Civil War was from 1917 and it ended in 1923. Okay, so Civil War broke out in Russia in late 1917 after the Bolshevik Revolution took place. So the warring factions, they included the Red and White Army. So the Red and the White armies were fighting. So I'll just write it down that who represented Red and the White armies. So Red and White. So the Red Army, it fought for the Lenin's Bolshevik government, while the White Army, it represented a large group of loosely allied forces, including the monarchist, capitalist, and supporters of democratic socialism. So always remember that Red was being represented for the Lenin's party, and the White, they were actually the loosely allied forces, which were not that strong. Okay, so on July 16th, 1918, the Romanovs, they were executed by the Bolsheviks, and finally the Russian Civil War, it ended in 1923 with Lenin's Red Army claiming victory and establishing the Soviet Union. So he actually was the one who made the USSR, which is the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. So the Red Army was winning. Okay, Red Army won. Right. So this is the Soviet Union or the USSR. So, so thus when the Civil War ended, the Bolsheviks, they formed the USSR or the Soviet Union in 1923 from the Russian Empire. Like this was carved out from the Russian Empire. So now to obviously, it's a big party, but they still need cooperation. So to ensure cooperation, most of the non-Russian nationalities within the USSR, they were actually given political autonomy. But since this was combined with unpopular policies that the Bolsheviks forced the local government to follow, like they were actually forcing these nationalities, to follow some government policies. So, for instance, the harsh discouragement of nomadism. So, because of that, there were attempts to win over different nationalities. So that was actually very partly successful. They made sure that they win over other parties, but that was partly successful. Now, next up, we have like how now Bolsheviks, like, they were turning Russia into a socialist society. So, how were they doing that? So, the government made 5-year plans fixing prices, to promote industrial production, like industrial growth should be there during the first two plans. Like, there is a 5-year plan. So, during the first two plans, they actually wanted to promote industrial growth. Hence, this centralized planning led to economic growth. And in fact, if you see here, industrial production grew rapidly between 1929 and 1993. So, basically, the 5-year plan, it was all about this. So, I'll just write it down here. So, the 5-year plan, first of all, it is about industrial growth. So, in fact, in cities, new factories came into being, like they were set up. But, like, however, rapid construction was there, so that led to poor working conditions. So, workers were living hard lives, and the result was 550 stoppages were there of work in the first year alone. So, that is something like it was a negative impact, a negative factor to the industrial growth. But anyway, it was growing rapidly. It was growing rapidly, sorry. Then, apart from that, like what all was included in the 5-year plan, apart from the industrial growth. So, second of all, there was an extending schooling system. So, schooling, the education was upgraded. So, that developed, and then arrangements were made for the factory workers and the peasants, like, to study in these universities, and creches were established for the children of those women workers, like for the workers who were women who were working in the factory. So, for their children, creches were established, they were made available. Apart from that, there was cheap public health care, so that was provided, so health care. And finally, there were modern living quarters which were set up for the workers. But apart from all of that, like last one was living quarters. But apart from all of this, the impact was still uneven due to lack of limited, like because there was limited government resources. So there were not enough resources. That's why the impact was still uneven. Yeah. So next up, we have Stalinism and collectivization. So, Stalinism basically is the term given because of Joseph Stalin, who was a dictator of USSR. So, what exactly happened? So, the period of the early planned economy, which was the 5-year plan, so that was linked to the disasters of the collectivization of agriculture. So, by 1927 to 1928, the peasants, they actually, refused to sell their grain, that is the agricultural products, to government buyers at government fixed prices. So at that time, Joseph Stalin, who was heading the Bolshevik party after the death of Lenin, so he introduced firm emergency measures. And one of them was that he advocated for the elimination of kulak. So kulak was actually like a wealthy and prosperous peasant is called a kulak. So you might be asked about this. So kulak is a wealthy peasant. Yeah. So, and apart from that, he promoted cultivation on collective farms, which was called kolkhoz. So, a collective farmland, like where everybody will work together, and so that was called a kolkhoz. But despite all this, in the end, there was a devastating famine from 1930 to 1933, which killed over like 4 million people. So, very saddening. Okay. Now, lastly, we have like, when this Russian Revolution took place, like there was October Revolution. First of all, there was 1905 Revolution, then February Revolution, then there was October Revolution. So Joseph Stalin, then Lenin, they all just emerged. So finally, and there was socialism emerging. So it, how did it impact the world? Like globally, what was the impact like? So the global impact of the revolution and the USSR. So there were many non-Russians from outside USSR who participated in the Conference of the Peoples of the East, which was in 1920, and the Bolshevik they founded the Comintern. So this was the symbol. So the Comintern, it was actually an international union of Bolshevik socialist parties, like the who were the pro-Bolshevik socialist parties. And then by the end of Second World War, so Second World War was from 1939 to 1945. So the USSR had actually given socialism a global face and world stature. So, inspired by USSR, there were communist parties being formed in many other countries, like the Communist Party of Great Britain. So, actually, Russia was the first one to have a communist party, and this is how socialism was spreading. And finally, we were able to see more communist parties, like in Great Britain. But the reputation of the USSR as a socialist country, it declined by the end of the 20th century. Okay, so that was all about socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. Now let's just jump on to some of the questions which you can answer. The first question, it is like, what were the social, economic and political conditions in Russia before 1905 revolution? So if you remember, I think social conditions were like yeah, so on social front, it was seen that there was division among workers, right? If you remember, but still they were united whenever there was a strike, whenever there was a disagreement between the employers, like with the employers. Then economically, if you see, so like society-wise and economically, so new factories were being set up, and political conditions were like that the Bolshevik party was rising, and then there was Tsar who introduced Duma, but then it actually there was abdication of Tsar. So this all can be included. So we have studied that. Next question is that in what ways was the working population in Russia different from other countries in Europe before 1970? So if you remember, we had working population as in I think the peasants who were working, so or the workers in the factories. So you can put that they pooled together, right? Like periodically they were pooling all the resources which they had together, and then the mir was distributing them according to the family needs and the requirements. Next up, we have why did the Tsarist autocracy collapse in 1917? So this also you have studied, so you can answer it. Then next is what were the main changes which were brought by the Bolsheviks immediately after the October Revolution? So just now we studied that there were like the major changes if we talk about. So there was nationalization of banks, then the old titles of aristocracy were banned, then there were new uniforms, right? And then the land was like peasants were allowed to seize the land of the nobles. So these were the main changes. Then, okay, now what do you know about the following? So this can be asked in like one question, like 1 mark question is. So kulaks, who are they? So it's a wealthy and prosperous peasant. Then the Duma, which was the Constituent Assembly. Then how are the women workers between 1900 and 1930? Then the liberals. So we have studied the liberals, the conservatives and the radicals. And finally, Stalin's collectivization program. So just now we studied. Okay, now just a quick revision according to the timeline. So it's actually better, to go according to the events. So timeline wise, we can go and you can write it down like however you like. So starting from the 1850s to 1880s. So debates were there over socialism in Russia. Then 1898, there was the Russian Social Democratic Workers' Party, which was formed and founded. Then in 1905, the Bloody Sunday, you must remember the picture. There was Father Gapon who was killed. Then the 1905 revolution. Then 1917 was 2nd March, abdication of the Tsar, that is resignation by Tsar. Then 24th October 1917 was the Bolshevik uprising in Petrograd, which was earlier named as St. Petersburg. Then next up we have the 1918 to 20, the Civil War. So, but it actually ended in 1923. And 1919 formation of Comintern, which was an international union of Bolshevik, like pro-Bolshevik workers. Then 1929 beginning of collectivization by Stalin, and 1930 to 33 was the famine which occurred, like which was caused by grain shortage. Again, a quick revision, like just the gist of it, whatever we studied. So first of all, the liberals, they wanted a nation which tolerated all religions. Like this was the division, like the three groups. Then the conservatives, who were like after the 19th century, they accepted changes, but they also believed that past should be respected and change should be like gradually done. Then the socialists were, and then there were radicals too. So socialists, they were against private property and they saw it as the root of all the social ills of all the time. So socialists and radicals, like they're the same only. Then the Russian Revolution, what does it refer to? So I already told you it accounts for the February Revolution and the October Revolution. Then it was mainly characterized by the fall of monarchy and the formation of a provisional government. Then the Bolsheviks, they renamed themselves the Russian Communist Party in 1918. And finally, the Bolsheviks, which was led by Vladimir Lenin, so he advocated for the redistribution of land and wealth. So he actually took away the land of nobles and he gave it to them. He gave it to the peasants. Then the civil war, 1918 to 1923 in Russia. So that was fought between the red and white armies. So Bolsheviks on one side and the non-Bolshevik socialist and the pro-Tsarist on the other side. And finally, Stalin in the end came, and so he was Lenin's successor. So he advocated for collectivization of agriculture, that is cultivation, to combat an acute grain shortage that Russia was facing during that time, because of which the Great Famine happened. Yeah. So, in a nutshell, if I say, we saw the emergence of socialism as a response to capitalism and the Industrial Revolution. So, workers they were protesting, so that led to the establishment of a Duma, which was the Constituent Assembly. Then, eventually, there was fall of monarchy and the establishment of a provisional government. Then, we explored the entire process by looking at the February Revolution in Petrograd and the emergence of the Bolsheviks, so headed by Lenin. Later, we saw that how the civil war was there, and the provisional government tried to build a socialist society through repressive policies. And and in the end, like it led to famine. Then there were strikes and there was despair all around in the country. But regardless of all of this, USSR emerged as a global leader. So actually, socialism reached India as well during that time, and many political leaders were keen students of the Russian experiment. So this was all about the socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. So Russia actually set a very great example for other, countries which were the third world countries. So any doubts if you have, like you can ask. And that's all for today. And thank you so much. Bye bye. See you.